This video is sponsored by BetterHelp. What's up guys, salut, this is Alex. Hola chicos, ¿cómo estás? Estoy muy bien, pero estoy un po' preocupado. So why am I a little worried? Very simple, paella is a little more complicated than I thought. Just a touch. So in the previous episode, I had the chance to taste a real authentic paella. It's amazing. In Valencia, Spain. That dish was extraordinary. The rice flavor, the seafood, the wood fire, the way that dish was realized and treated was completely unexpected. In my past experience, paella is supposed to be bright yellow rice and all the toppings you could ever imagine, including seafood, meat, vegetables. Well, little did I know, paella is not that. Paella is first and foremost flavorful rice. If you don't have this foundation, the toppings won't save it. With that in mind today, I want to show you how to make a great paella every time by concentrating on how to get the rice right. So we need to try and achieve two things with the rice. Number one, a great texture. It needs to be cooked properly, separate plump grains that still have some bite to them. But we need to try and achieve this while also making sure we have layers of flavor. The first layer is a solid base: garlic, tomatoes, paprika, saffron. Secondly, we need to boil the rice in an umami-rich broth to really saturate the grains. Finally, we need to reduce the liquid in the pan in order to create what the Spanish call socarrat, the sticky, caramelized, super savory, crusty layer beneath the rice. But before we do any of this, let's talk about rice varieties. Short grain rice coming from Valencia. There are a few sub-varieties, but the one that is the most popular is called Bomba. The two main characteristics that makes this rice exceptional for paella is that it's very resistant to overcooking, but also it's able to absorb a lot of flavor. And a lot of that flavor comes from an umami-rich broth. So let's make one. This is the base layer. I've got carrots, fennels, onions, leeks, mushrooms, a little clove of garlic, and then this beautiful bunch of fresh herbs. Wow. At the fishmonger, I've asked them if they had any good fish bones. So I've got these beautiful fish bones coming from a white fish. I think it's called a lieu noir, but they're gonna be the backbone, literally, of our stock. Now, I want to make a scallop paella, so I feel like this should taste a bit of scallop. I've asked my fishmonger to provide me with a few more elements. So I don't know if you guys ever opened a scallop before, but basically when you do, it looks a bit like this. This is the main muscle along with the corail. So this goes in the paella at the last minute. And then you've got a few other pieces. You've got a black thing, which might well be the stomach or the liver. This is usually a bit bitter and has loads of sand, so this usually goes in the trash. But then you've got some sort of a skirt. I call this the barbe, and even though it is very often discarded in France, in Japan, I've seen that this was a delicacy. This is full of flavor. This is going in my fish stock. These are all the scallop skirts that I've been able to save. So I've got everything in my pot right now and enough water to cover it all. Now I'm gonna bring this to a boil first, and then I'll simmer it for about an hour. Turn it off. I'm just gonna season it now. Give it a little stir. That's amazing. So clean. Okay, great. That's the broth sorted. Let's look at equipment. Right, so a paella pan, or more simply a paella, is usually that wide, flat, shallow frying pan that is made out of steel. So I don't have that dish, but I've got something that is pretty similar. I've got this steel pan. It's pretty flat, it's pretty wide, it's pretty shallow. So for the vessel, I think we are sorted out. Okay, now it's time to cook paella. There are loads of variables at play here. So many chances for this to fail. But let's remain positive, shall we? Okay, so if you think you might be feeling depressed, stressed, overwhelmed, or anxious, well, today's sponsor, BetterHelp, is here to help you. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service. It is 100% online, and you can tap into a network of over 25,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone, or video call. You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live session when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you would expect from an in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom-picked for you, with more scheduling flexibility and at a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Alex, also in the description below. Thank you BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. So I've got my seafood. I've got 2 shrimps, 2 scallops. I'm just gonna roast them super quick with a bit of oil, a bit of salt, pepper. So I reckon the seafood is ready, because afterwards it's gonna be cooking again. I just try to sear it properly. Now, this is priceless. This is the fond that we're gonna be using right now. Tomato, pimienton, and garlic. This is gonna be creating layer 1 of flavor. Once I've got this a little cooked, I'm gonna drop a glass of our precious Valencian rice. I'm gonna roast it a bit, and then I'm gonna add some stock to it. Usually when I add the stock, I also add the saffron. Saffron is a key element to any paella. Usually chefs throw it at the start with the garlic and the tomatoes in the oil. I think it's brutal. I'm following a more Persian-inspired way, where I'm grinding it to a fine powder first, and then dissolving it in hot liquid, in this case, stock. This is really gonna make the saffron bloom. The ratio is about 3 parts stock to 1 part rice. Gonna bring all this to a boil. Now let's talk about temperature control. We want all the stock to be absorbed at the same time that the rice is perfectly cooked. It's no good having the rice undercooked and the dish burnt dry. It's also not good having the rice overcooked and the dish still soupy. Traditionally, there are 3 temperature phases in cooking paella. Number 1, the boiling phase. This is to cook the rice in lots of liquid, usually lasts under 10 minutes. Then, you've got the simmering stage. This stage allows the rice to absorb that tasty stock and also reduce the liquid slowly while really taking care of the rice. This lasts also under 10 minutes. Finally, you've got the high heat stage. Once the rice is just about cooked, then the heat needs to go up. We need to reduce any remaining liquid in the pan so that the rice can turn into that beautiful sticky rice crust, the socarrat. In terms of timing, we are looking at 30 seconds to a minute tops. Bear in mind that your rice, your pan, and your heat source are all going to be different than mine, and they are all going to affect how long these phases take. So please taste, adjust, and if you fail, just try again, okay? You will get this right eventually. I think it's ready, and so am I. I'm gonna go for a bit of rice, the juicy rice. It's amazing. All the grains are nicely separated. The flavors of these grains is borderline too intense, but not. A bit of scallops, a bit of rice. It's a match made in heaven. What about the rice crust, Alex? What about the socarrat? Oh, well, that's exactly what you want. Charred, caramelized. I'm telling you, in Spain, people will fight for this. Wow. There is a bit of crisp, especially if you go on the edges. Oh, c'est le meilleur! It's gnarly, it's naughty, it's like sticky. Let me tell you a real story. I'm supposed to be dining out in about an hour from now. And I thought I'm just gonna taste the paella in front of the camera. I can't do that, it's way too good. That dish is a keeper. This is something I've unlocked today. And this is something I'm 100% gonna do again for my family. I wish there was a little more, to be honest. Right, guys, this is, honestly, genuinely, possibly, one of the very best recipes I've learned this year. And it's November. So until this day in my pantry at all time, I had basmati rice and I had Japanese rice. Well, starting from this day, I'm gonna have a bag of this. That Valencian rice. It's definitely white rice, but in terms of flavor, it's closer to brown rice. I hope you enjoy the recipe. I hope you will try this because it's amazing. Catch up in the next one. Bye bye. Salut.
Bigger, bolder, faster. I'm going to the maximum. I'm going to the maximum. I'm going to the maximum. I'm bigger, bolder, faster. I'm going to the maximum. I'm going to the maximum. I'm going to the maximum. I'm bigger, bolder, faster.